Battle through the heavens, Grand World. Chapter 206 Jade Fairy. Although their soul attacks were invisible, the people on the second floor were not powerful people. Sensing the fluctuation of soul power, everyone turned their eyes to the two people confronting each other. Zhao Qingshan, this old man, has such a big temper. Did that ignorant guy offend him? Everyone naturally knew who Zhao Qingshan was when they saw him. The few old men who knew him well couldn't help but laugh in a low voice. After that, they turned to face Zhao Qingshan. When they saw Xiao Yan's face, they were startled and stood rooted to the ground. When they were walking around, they had also noticed Xiao Yan. Initially, they thought that this young man was here to collect herbs for his teacher. But now, this young man was confronting Zhao Qingshan, and judging from his soul power, he had also reached the middle period of alien stage. Hiss! All of them sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at each other. When did such a monstrous genius appear in the few big castles in star-severing mountain range? According to what they knew, none of their disciples had such a talent. Under the shocked expressions of the surrounding people, Zhao Qingshan's face was also filled with shock. Although he had been in a high position for a long time, his mind had already become as calm as water. When he realized that Xiao Yan actually had a soul power that could rival his dignified expression suddenly turned into a deep shock. Zhao Qingshan was after all a powerful man who had been famous for a long time. His soul power was extremely condensed, and it was like a huge mountain that was smashing down. It carried a boundless pressure. Although Xiao Yan felt that it was a little difficult for him to deal with it, with the transformation of his soul from the lower realm and the toughness of the prestige power spell, he still did not put this level of pressure in his heart. Hong! Another invisible explosion sounded. The space seemed to have been torn apart. The moment the key rushed to the crystal glass cabinet nearby, a light immediately flashed on it. A flowing light flickered and blocked the key attack quietly, ensuring that the medicinal ingredients were safe and sound. The stalemate lasted for a long time. Zhao Qingshan's expression became even gloomier. His eyes revealed traces of a fierce light. He looked at Xiao Yan, who was pursing his mouth and not saying a word. However, his heart was already surging violently. Various emotions continuously flowed out from his heart, turning into anger. Behind him, the handsome young man's cultivation did not seem to be weak. He was also slightly aware of the soul battle between the two of them. His face turned slightly pale. He knew Zhao Qingshan's strength very well. This young man in front of him actually had the strength to fight him. Clang! While the two of them were in a stalemate, the sound of air being torn apart suddenly resounded by everyone's ears. After which, a jade sword swiftly rushed over like a flowing light. It tore through the sky between Xiao Yan and Zhao Qingshan. Violent sword ki was swift like the wind as it shot explosively towards the two of them. Zhao Qingshan frowned. Even he didn't dare to directly withstand the intensity of this sword ki. Immediately, he withdrew his soul energy. With a wave of his sleeve, he firmly grabbed the sword ki in his hand and quickly refined it. Xiao Yan's reaction wasn't slow either. Almost at the same time as Zhao Qingshan, he withdrew his hand. The swift and fierce sword ki seemed to cut through the sky and cut through the void. Xiao Yan's expression darkened. This feeling, it should be the heavenly monarch skill. It couldn't be wrong. He suddenly waved his palm. The blue flame ruler instantly appeared in his hand, blocking the sword ki. Almost at the same time, the emperor flame on the blue flame ruler quietly surged and eliminated all the hidden force on the ruler. When the two of them used their respective techniques, the jade sword that rushed over slightly shook in the air. It then turned into a gorgeous arc and flew back, landing steadily in a scabbard. You two are really in a good mood. You have openly come here to fight. Are you not putting the profound yin sect in your eyes? At the moment when the jade sword was sheathed, an extremely charming laughter was heard from not far away, attracting everyone's attention. The person who had arrived was a woman in a pink dress. The woman was tall and had a jade face. Her red lips had an enchanting and gentle smile, and her pretty face was slightly covered with makeup. It was even more mature and rich, and she was quite beautiful. Her jade-like arm, which was as long as snow, was exposed. She held a purple scabbard in her hand and walked over slowly. She looked at Xiao Yan and Zhao Qingshan with her beautiful eyes, and her red lips curled up slightly. Jade Fairy, I really didn't expect that I would alarm you. Seeing the appearance of the girl, Zhao Qingshan put away the gloomy expression on his face. He changed into a faint smile and slightly cupped his hands towards the former. This girl in front of him, her reputation. However, his name resounded throughout the surrounding fortresses. Even if he, Zhao Qingshan, was in Myriad Spirit Prefecture. He had also heard about the famous Jade Fairy of Medicine Pavilion. This girl, not only was her strength and talent astonishing, but her own strength had also reached the Monarch Emperor level. Her soul power had also broken through to the middle period of alien stage not long ago. It was rumored that this girl was even more charming, and she had seduced the sect chief of the profound Yin sect, Yin Jushuan. Of course, regardless of whether the rumors were true or not, Zhao Qingshan had no intention of offending such a scheming and beautiful girl. He didn't have any intentions of making friends with her. He just chuckled. He cupped his hands towards the former and gave Xiao Yan a deep look. Immediately, he walked towards the first floor with vigorous steps. The young man behind him gave Xiao Yan a frightened look. He hurriedly followed after him. Jade Fairy's pretty eyes were filled with extraordinary splendor. When she saw Zhao Qingshan walk out, her red lips curled up slightly. She then turned her gaze towards the hall. The hearts of the experts, who were being stared at by her, involuntarily trembled. Immediately, they cupped their hands towards her and went their separate ways. Jade Fairy withdrew her gaze and looked at Xiao Yan, who was not far away from her. The latter had just withdrawn the blue flame ruler into his body and was coincidentally seen by Jade Fairy. Hee, a heavenly weapon. She laughed softly. Jade Fairy couldn't help but look at Xiao Yan a few more times with her beautiful eyes. After that, she walked up to him. She slightly opened her red lips and said, "You are not allowed to fight in Medicine Pavilion, don't you know that?" Xiao Yan frowned. Looking at this beautiful woman in front of him, Xiao Yan took a deep breath. This fellow had a heavenly weapon, and his strength was unfathomable. When talking to this kind of woman, one must be extremely careful. This is my first time here. There are many places that I am not familiar with. I hope you can forgive me. He cupped his fist toward Jade Fairy. Xiao Yan said sincerely. Since this girl was holding a heavenly weapon, her strength was obviously not weak. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Xiao Yan really didn't want to have any conflicts with her. After all, the faction behind Medicine Pavilion was the Profound Yin sect, a big sect. Of course there are a lot of top masters. Oh, is that so? Jade Fairy's smile became even wider when she heard this. She shook the scabbard in her hand and casually placed her waterfall-like hair behind her back and softly said, "However, your soul power is not ordinary. There is absolutely no one like you in this region. I am very curious. Is it that senior who can teach a disciple like you?" After Zhao Qingshan left, the smile on his face disappeared. He walked out without saying a word. The young man didn't dare to speak. He could only follow Zhao Qingshan's footsteps, not daring to show any neglect. When he thought of Xiao Yan's appearance, the fury in Zhao Qingshan's heart surged. While he was walking, his facial expression suddenly changed. Why did that guy look so familiar? Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 207 Invitation. On the second floor, Jade Fairy wore a charming smile as she looked at Xiao Yan. Her beautiful eyes lit up, and she smiled sweetly. Xiao Yan calmed himself down and pondered for a moment before saying, "My master has traveled everywhere and is not good at the secular world. He once told me not to say his name. I hope you can forgive me." A trace of regret flashed across Jade Fairy's beautiful eyes when she heard this. Then, she gently nodded her head. She said, "Since that's the case, I won't ask any more." A master who could nurture this young man in front of her. He must be a person with great prestige, and such a person. Who knows how many experts he had offended during his cultivation, and how many disciples he had warned his disciples not to divulge his information. Not only did he protect himself, but he also protected his disciples. She had a deep understanding of such things. After that, Jade Fairy's eyes sparkled. She looked at Xiao Yan with a smile and said, "You are so young, yet you possess such a powerful soul power. You are truly extraordinary. I presume that you have come for the auction tomorrow." Xiao Yan nodded. She made a gesture of invitation to Xiao Yan and said gently, "Please come in. I heard from the two guards that you have the invitation letter written by Master Yin. You can be considered a guest of Profound Yin sect. Can we have a chat in the inner chambers?" When Jade Fairy said this, the other people who were eavesdropping on her nodded slightly. No wonder this guy could come to the second floor. It turned out that he had the invitation letter from Yin Jushuan. He glanced at Xiao Yan in a subtle way and remembered the latter's appearance in his heart. Then, everyone went to do their own things. Xiao Yan was slightly startled when he heard this. He had long heard that there was a deep connection between the Medicine Pavilion and the Profound Yin sect. There was even a rumor that the Medicine Pavilion's great master had a very intimate relationship with the Profound Yin sect master. Now, it seemed that this beautiful girl named Jade Fairy in front of him might have some secret relationship with Yin Jushuan. Forget it. I appreciate your good intentions, Pavilion Master. However, I am interested in the auction tomorrow. I still need to prepare a lot of things when I return today. Xiao Yan pondered for a moment and spoke after considering his words. Jade Fairy smiled slightly and moved forward. Her red lips parted slightly and said, "Don't be in a hurry to reject. I still know some of the things that will be auctioned tomorrow. Do you want to know some in advance so that you can prepare?" Xiao Yan's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. If he knew about the things that would appear in the auction in advance, he would be able to complete the plan and spend the monarch crystal on the things that he needed the most. It would be enough to avoid many regrets. He looked at Jade Fairy with a fiery gaze. The latter was looking at him with a smile on her face, and her beautiful eyes revealed a strange luster. She took a deep breath. Xiao Yan knew that it was difficult for him to reject this temptation. Seeing Xiao Yan's expression loosen slightly, Jade Fairy smiled and nodded her head lightly. Then, she turned around and walked slowly towards the direction she came from. When Xiao Yan saw this, he immediately followed after her. However, he had an additional thought in his heart. This woman must not be underestimated. He followed Jade Fairy to a room. It was more appropriate to call it a courtyard. The courtyard was filled with mountains and rivers. Although it was night outside, it was as if it was daytime here. The colorful crystals illuminated the place beautifully. It was like a poem or a painting, like a paradise in the mortal world. The water gurgled, and the shadows of the trees fluttered about, bringing about a different type of enjoyment. Upon seeing this scene, Xiao Yan clicked his tongue in admiration. To think that there would be such a gorgeous courtyard on the second floor. Feel free to sit. Jade Fairy stretched out her snow-white arm and casually pointed at the stone bench in the courtyard. Xiao Yan did not stand on ceremony and sat on the stone bench. A beautiful maid brought tea over. "You guys can go out." After waving her hand and letting the maids out, Jade Fairy directly sat on the stone bench in front of Xiao Yan. Under the latter's expectant gaze, she smiled sweetly. Her hand gently rubbed and a pale green-colored bead appeared in her hand. This is the majority of the items that will be auctioned in the auction. Of course, there are some extremely precious treasures that even I do not know what they are. Jade Fairy gently rotated the cylinder with her jade hand and said softly. After that, she extended her jade arm and held the bead in front of Xiao Yan. Just as the latter was about to receive it, Jade Fairy laughed and retracted her hand at lightning speed, causing Xiao Yan to grab empty air. Jade Fairy looked at the somewhat puzzled Xiao Yan and gently smiled. With a turn of her jade hand, the pearl had already appeared and disappeared. Don't be anxious. This information is not some secret thing. It's nothing to give it to you. However, before I give it to you, I would like to ask you something. Xiao Yan chuckled when he heard this. He changed to a calm and composed posture and sat down. He nodded. Jade Fairy stared at Xiao Yan with her beautiful eyes and pondered for a while. Her red lips slowly opened and said, "Your strength should not be as low as on the surface." Xiao Yan was stunned and took a deep look at Jade Fairy. The latter's expression was calm and there was no other expression on her pretty face. The smile from before had completely disappeared. Xiao Yan slowly nodded his head. He did not hide anything from her. He seemed to have seen everything about this woman in front of him. He had a feeling that everything was under his control. This feeling made Xiao Yan feel as if his back was pressed against his back. Seeing that Xiao Yan did not deny it, the corner of Jade Fairy's mouth curled into a smile. In the next moment, she suddenly stretched out her hand and a few different colored airstreams bombarded over. The strong force caused the air to crack. The stone table in front of the two of them instantly turned into pieces and flew away in all directions. Seeing Jade Fairy suddenly making a move, Xiao Yan raised his brows. Although he was puzzled in his heart, his reaction was not slow at all. He suddenly stretched out his right hand and slapped a huge rock that was flying towards him. He took the opportunity to retreat. At the same time, the Origin Monarch key on his left hand surged wildly. In an instant, the majestic attack was ready. Jade Fairy's expression did not change when she saw Xiao Yan's reaction. The Origin Monarch key within her body did not hold anything back as it wildly surged out. The numerous streams of sovereign ki that were unleashed were like wild dragons that had gone out to sea. It carried a force that could tear through space as it violently blasted out. The sharp ki caused the surrounding stone tables to shatter with a loud bang. Some of the fake mountains were also unable to withstand this trace of pressure. The mountain was instantly covered with spiderweb-like cracks. Xiao Yan was also shocked in his heart when he saw Jade Fairy's attack. He had deeply felt this kind of force from Su Chong and the others. This woman actually had the strength of a monarch emperor level. With a thought, Xiao Yan didn't dare to be careless anymore. With his current strength, he wouldn't be able to handle a monarch emperor level. Even if he used all of his strength, he estimated that he wouldn't be able to last much longer. Heavenly Monarch Fire Burning Body. With a thought, the monarch flame started circulating rapidly within the Origin Monarch key. With the help of the monarch flame, Xiao Yan's strength instantly rose to the level of an emperor. At the moment when Xiao Yan's strength increased, Jade Fairy also felt something. A trace of surprise flashed across her beautiful eyes, and then her red lips slightly curled up. This guy was really not simple. At the same time when his strength increased, Xiao Yan clenched his fist. The blue flame ruler had already appeared in his hand. Lightning surged on the surface of the ruler, and it seemed like a thunder dragon was roaring. Bang! The left fist that he had been preparing for a long time suddenly smashed out. It was as if it contained an aura that could explode heaven and earth as it fiercely collided with the several airstreams that came in close proximity. Boom! The two of them collided and instantly produced a deafening explosion. Even with the protection of the monarch flame, Xiao Yan felt a sweetness in his throat. The strength of the monarch emperor level expert was truly terrifying. After swallowing the blood, Xiao Yan's body was sent flying. In midair, his body forcefully paused, and his right foot touched a huge rock. With a fierce stamp, the huge force instantly shattered the huge rock. At the same time, with the help of this force, Xiao Yan rushed towards the rushing sovereign key pillar. In his hand, the lightning on the blue flame ruler started to vibrate. It was as if it was going to shatter the heaven and earth. Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 208 I'll Pay You. Lightning surged on the blue flame ruler like a roaring thunder dragon. It struck down fiercely at the surging sovereign key pillar. Hong Long, 8-directional thunder ruler. Along with the sizzling sound of thunder, the blue flame ruler in Xiao Yan's hand slashed down horizontally. It emitted 10,000 bolts of lightning that collided with the sovereign key pillar. At the same time, monarch flame surged out from the surface of Xiao Yan's body, forming an airtight flame defense. Boom! The huge ruler collided with the sovereign key pillar, and a deafening explosion instantly erupted, causing all the surrounding mountain rocks to shatter. The lake water surged wildly, raising several jong-tall water pillars. Chaotic rocks pierced through the air, and before they could even reach a few inches away from the two of them, they had already turned into ashes and were obliterated. Dong! Xiao Yan's body flew backwards. When he crashed into a fake mountain, his body was barely able to stop. Both of his feet landed on the mountain and stabilized his body. His right hand, which was tightly holding onto the blue flame ruler, was bleeding from the tiger's mouth. There was also a shocking blood slowly flowing down from the corner of his mouth. After wiping away the blood from the corner of his mouth, Xiao Yan could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. The strength of a monarch emperor was actually so strong. He had used almost all of his strength just to receive Jade Fairy's attack. The monarch flame and blue flame ruler were thrown out at the same time, causing him to suffer some minor injuries. The blood within his body churned continuously. Thinking of this, the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth couldn't help but twitch. If the spirit of heart flame hadn't appeared in the underground tomb, it would have been much more difficult for him to obtain the treasure from those few monarch emperor warriors. Although the girl in front of him was an outstanding monarch emperor level warrior, it also reflected the scariness of the monarch emperor level expert. Seeing Xiao Yan blocking her attack, a surprised look flashed across Jade Fairy's beautiful eyes. At the same time, the smile on her face became wider. The strength of her attack just now, even a peak of Monarch King Warrior would have to use all his strength to defend against it. This fellow in front of her had really exceeded her expectations. Who? When the blood ki in his body slowly calmed down, Xiao Yan's figure flashed and landed on the ground. He had already put away the blue flame ruler. In front of Jade Fairy, Xiao Yan directly swallowed a few medicine pills. He looked at Jade Fairy without any hesitation and did not say anything. This woman should have given him an explanation. Truly amazing. Jade Fairy praised from the bottom of her heart. She did not have any dissatisfaction with the destruction of the beautiful courtyard. Her beautiful eyes were full of different colors. She looked at Xiao Yan with joy. She nodded her head lightly and seemed very satisfied. Whether it's the Profound Yin Castle or the Profound Yin Sect, I have never seen a monarch spirit that can withstand a monarch emperor's attack. You are indeed extraordinary. Seeing Xiao Yan's unfriendly expression, Jade Fairy didn't care about it at all. With light steps, she arrived in front of Xiao Yan. On top of her jade-like hand was a pale green bead. Xiao Yan frowned slightly. He really couldn't see through this woman's thoughts. Jade Fairy's voice suddenly became extremely charming when she saw that Xiao Yan was puzzled and did not make a move. I was just testing you just now and did not kill you. You also felt it. Xiao Yan sneered in his heart when he heard her. He naturally felt it, otherwise. He wasn't the only one who attacked. Ever since the Xiaoao broke through to the Monarch Emperor, he hadn't had a good fight yet. After throwing the light green bead to Xiao Yan, Jade Fairy stretched out her jade-like arm and tied her messy long hair to the back of her head. She casually said, I have also seen the things inside. There are quite a lot of good things inside. There must be something you are interested in, but... Jade Fairy paused, her red lips curled and said, you should know that tomorrow's auction will attract a lot of experts. Some of them may not be as strong as you, but they have more wealth than you. With your strength, will the auction have enough money to obtain what you want tomorrow? Xiao Yan was startled when he heard this. Although he did not understand why this woman wanted to get what she wanted. What did she want to do? But these words had really poked Xiao Yan's sore spot. His eyes narrowed slightly, but his heart was filled with uncertainty. Jade Fairy heard the sound of a light bell and her smile became even brighter. It suddenly sounded. This is very simple. The way you look when you are buying herbs outside can completely explain the problem. Xiao Yan was stunned for a moment and then laughed involuntarily. When he was buying herbs outside earlier, he naturally cut whatever he could cut. He did not expect that Jade Fairy would be able to see through him with just a glance. He looked at the light green bead in his hand. There was a faint fluorescent glow on it, and it had a faint fragrance. Vaguely coming from it, it was as if Jade Fairy's body fragrance attracted people to reminisce. Xiao Yan took a deep breath. This woman's charm was too strong. In front of her, his thinking was greatly reduced. Why are you asking this? Don't tell me you will pay me. Xiao Yan gave a teasing smile. He simply stared at Jade Fairy, not caring at all. There was a beautiful woman in front of him, and she seemed to be in a very good state of mind. Seeing Xiao Yan staring at her openly, Jade Fairy lightly laughed. Her delicate body moved, and with a wave of her hand, a purple robe was draped over her shoulder. After that, she looked at Xiao Yan with her beautiful eyes and said with a charming voice. Sure. Xiao Yan raised his brows. The teasing look in his eyes had disappeared. He looked at this enchanting woman with a puzzled expression. What was she trying to do? After the auction ends tomorrow, the sect chief of the Profound Yin sect will hold a martial arts competition for all the guests with the invitation cards. The winner of the competition can ask the Profound Yin sect for a condition that is within your ability. I hope you can participate in the competition. With your ability, it shouldn't be difficult for you to get first place. Jade Fairy looked at Xiao Yan with a smile and said what she thought in her heart. Of course, as a reward, I will pay for whatever you buy in the auction, but there are only 3 of them. She stretched out 3 fingers and waved her white jade-like hand in front of Xiao Yan. Jade Fairy's voice slowly sounded. After hearing Jade Fairy's words, Xiao Yan's heart moved. He looked at the former and said in a deep voice, if got first place. Then, what do you want me to ask for? Jade Fairy laughed when she heard this. After pondering for a moment, she slowly said, I want you to ask Yin Jushuan to give you the White Yang Spirit Lotus. When she mentioned the White Yang Spirit Lotus, Jade Fairy's tone suddenly changed. An extremely murderous aura unconsciously leaked out, startling Xiao Yan. White Yang Spirit Lotus. When he heard this title, Xiao Yan blinked his eyes. Then, he looked at Jade Fairy with some surprise. This was a genuine medicinal ingredient required to refine the 6th grade medicine pill White Yang pill. The effect of the White Yang pill was also quite peculiar. It was a kind of medicine pill that could dispel the inner demons. As it was not very useful to most people, and as the main ingredient, the White Sun Spirit Lotus required a very high place of growth. As a species that was frequently endangered and extinct in the world of alchemy, no one had expected that the profound Yin sect would actually keep such a feeling. What was even stranger was why Jade Fairy wanted this thing. She looked at Jade Fairy curiously. The murderous look on the latter's face had disappeared. She looked at Xiao Yan with a smile and said with a charming voice. How is it? This request did not harm your interests. What do you think? Xiao Yan heard her and laughed. He looked at Jade Fairy and said teasingly, if I win. What will happen if I don't make this request? The smile on Jade Fairy's face did not change at all. Her pretty face moved closer to Xiao Yan. The latter's nose moved and a faint fragrance entered his nose. It was extremely tempting. Then you can give it a try. If you think your life is too long. Jade Fairy's pleasant and charming voice slowly sounded at this moment. Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 209 The Grand Meeting. Jade Fairy's charming voice sounded beside Xiao Yan's ear, but it was as cold as ice, causing the latter's heart to tremble. After that, she let out a laugh and no longer dared to tease this woman. Of course, if you succeed in this matter, the reward I will give you will definitely not be low. You are also a smart person, you should know what you should get from this matter. Jade Fairy withdrew her head and tidied her purple robe with her delicate hand. She said faintly. Xiao Yan fell silent after hearing this. To be honest, he really didn't want to get involved in this matter. Since it was specially organized by Profound Yin Sect, perhaps the winner of this matter had already been arranged. If he were to interfere, it might cause the higher-ups of Profound Yin Sect to become furious. At that time, he would be surrounded by many people. Even with the help of the Xiao, it would be difficult for him to escape unscathed. Jade Fairy's eyes turned when she saw Xiao Yan's silence. She had already somewhat understood Xiao Yan's thoughts. Her red lips curved slightly. Don't worry. If you win, I will guarantee that you will leave Profound Yin Castle safely. However, whether you can leave this place or not will depend on your ability. Besides, too many secrets have been leaked from your conversation. If you don't agree to it, you won't even be able to leave this place. Jade Fairy looked at Xiao Yan with a smiling face, but her tone was filled with coldness. Xiao Yan heard her and narrowed his eyes. Then he grinned and said, is this a threat? The corner of Jade Fairy's mouth curled up. She did not deny it at all and said, sort of, but this is more of a win-win deal. Xiao Yan laughed softly. He mused for a moment before he nodded his head in a straightforward manner. It just so happened that he still lacked 5 heavenly cores and millions of monarch crystals. Hearing Jade Fairy's tone, these were nothing to her. In that case, she could also do her best to fight. Jade Fairy did not feel much joy when she saw Xiao Yan nod his head. As if she had already expected Xiao Yan to agree, she combed her hair. With your previous strength, it should not be difficult for you to enter the top few. Don't worry. That competition was mostly to give the young generation of Profound Yin Castle a chance to perform. Therefore, powerful experts wouldn't appear, as long as they were careful. You can easily win the first place. Hearing Jade Fairy's words, Xiao Yan smiled noncommittally. The battles in the arena were ever-changing, even if he had the strength to fight a monarch emperor. But he was determined to win that so-called first place. It was not only to fulfill Jade Fairy's request, it was also for the heavenly cores and monarch crystals. This might be the last chance for him to collect a large amount before entering the Yunluo Academy. Then I won't disturb you anymore. There should be a lot of good stuff tomorrow. You should refine some medicine pills. Jade Fairy smiled and turned around, preparing to leave. Xiao Yan was about to say goodbye when his expression suddenly changed and he said, how much do you know about that Zhao Qingshan? Zhao Qingshan. Jade Fairy stopped when she heard him. She turned around and looked at Xiao Yan curiously. The guy who confronted you just now. Seeing Xiao Yan nod his head, Jade Fairy pondered for a while and said, he is an elder of the Zhao family in Myriad Spirit City. He has a good relationship with the Profound Yin sect, especially his skill in alchemy. Even I can't compare with him. Besides, there were some disciples of the Zhao family in the Profound Yin sect. I'm afraid that those disciples will also participate in this competition. Jade Fairy looked at Xiao Yan with her beautiful eyes. There was an undetectable smile on the corner of her mouth. After that, she left gracefully. Xiao Yan was silent for a while, but he didn't say anything. He followed the path that Jade Fairy had pointed to him and left. After leaving Medicine Pavilion, Xiao Yan didn't have the leisure to stroll around the largest fortress in Star-Severing Mountain Range. He was worried about the things in the light green bead in his arms, so he went straight to a lodge and stayed there. In a lodge, Xiao Yan impatiently took out the bead. He looked at the latter with a burning gaze, then without any hesitation, his soul power surged out from between his eyebrows and entered the bead. Buzz. The moment his soul force entered the bead, a buzzing sound suddenly sounded. Xiao Yan felt a jolt in his head, and soon after, nearly 100 different colored balls of light slowly appeared in his mind. The balls of light contained different things such as medicine pills, spirit weapons, ores, spirit cores and so on. They were all different and varied. Above the light spheres, there were nearly 100 different colored light spheres. There was also a brilliant light flickering on top of the light spheres. Within the bright light spheres, the treasures wrapped within were even rarer. There were even heavenly cores and heavenly weapons appearing. When Xiao Yan saw this, he couldn't help but exclaim in his heart. Compared to this place, the auction in Black Sand Castle was like a child playing house. After touring for a long time, Xiao Yan finally withdrew his spiritual strength from the bead, as if he was still unsatisfied. There were indeed a lot of good things in the bead. Many treasures had moved his heart. However, after weighing his financial resources, Xiao Yan had no choice but to give up. Although Jade Fairy agreed to pay for her auction, she only had 3 quotas. These 3 quotas had to be used properly. As the saying goes, good steel is used on the blade. That was exactly the case. Besides, although there were many things in there, Jade Fairy had also said that true treasures did not appear in there. It was precisely because of this that Xiao Yan hesitated and could only bear to part with some of the treasures in the ball of light. Xiao Yan sighed. He forcefully calmed his heart. With a wave of his hand, a medicine cauldron appeared in front of him. At the same time, a group of different medicinal ingredients appeared beside him. After adjusting his emotions, Xiao Yan's expression gradually became calm as he began to immerse himself in refining the medicine cauldron. The next day, before dawn, the entire Profound Yin Castle was filled with a hubbub of voices. Countless people rushed towards the auction hall in the middle of the fortress like a flood. The grand occasion that was rarely seen in a few years was displayed to the fullest at this moment. Xiao Yan had already arrived in front of the auction hall. The huge auction hall was like a giant bird that was about to soar into the sky. It spread its wings and let out a long cry. The entire auction house was silver in color. Under the sunlight, it was extremely dazzling, and it also contrasted with the luxurious atmosphere of the auction house. Relying on the invitation in his hand, Xiao Yan easily entered the auction hall. Under the lead of the disciples of Profound Yin sect, he quickly entered the hall and sat down in a small private room on the high platform. Sitting in the private room, Xiao Yan looked down at the entire auction house. Colorful lights were alternating in the hall. Nearly 10,000 seats were neatly arranged in the hall. At the same time, on the highest platform, nearly 100 private rooms were already filled with people. These experts were all sitting calmly. His gaze was indifferent as he looked at the people who had squeezed in with great difficulty. The corners of his mouth revealed a trace of a smile. In the center of the many private rooms that were surrounded by stars, there was an extremely eye-catching luxury hall. At this moment, no one had taken a seat in the luxurious seats. However, there was a beautiful disciple of the Profound Yin sect standing beside each private room. She was ready to provide any service to the experts in the private rooms at all times. A beautiful woman was standing at the side. This seat was the seat of the sect master of the Profound Yin sect, Yin Jushuan. Xiao Yan retracted his gaze and saw Zhao Qingshan being led by a beautiful woman to a private room not far away. Behind him, the young man from yesterday followed suit with a respectful expression on his face. When Xiao Yan saw this, the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. This old man came quite early. Chapter End. Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 210 Identify. When Xiao Yan looked over at Zhao Qingshan, the latter seemed to have sensed something. He raised his head. When he looked at where Xiao Yan was, he couldn't help but snort when he saw Xiao Yan's figure. A cold look flashed across his eyes. When he went back yesterday, he couldn't remember where he had seen Xiao Yan. He just felt a sense of familiarity, but he had no idea. Sensing the doubt in Zhao Qingshan's eyes, Xiao Yan secretly sneered. When they met in Forest Domain, he came out of the cave in the Crimson Fire Flame Wolf. Due to the high temperature, he was bald and his clothes were tattered. It was normal that Zhao Qingshan couldn't recognize him. Xiao Yan withdrew his gaze and sat in the private room. Back then, this old man had ulterior motives. If it wasn't for the fact that the fire dragon needed a large amount of origin monarch ki to nourish the egg that had just entered his body, he would have turned into ashes a long time ago. He had to properly calculate this debt and how he should settle it. Soon, the hall was filled with people. The noise was deafening. Even though Xiao Yan was sitting in a private room, he still felt some ringing in his ears. The auction in Profound Yin Castle had done a lot of publicity. It was also the biggest auction that Xiao Yan had seen since he came to the Great World. While Xiao Yan was looking at the crowd with interest, a girl in a green shirt walked over. She came to Xiao Yan's private room and took out a token. The maid who was about to stop her changed her expression. She approached Xiao Yan's private room and knocked on the door gently. Xiao Yan frowned and opened the door. The maid outside swallowed her saliva and quickly bowed. Sorry to bother you, sir. One of the masters of Profound Yin Sect had sent his subordinate to tell him something. Profound Yin Sect. Xiao Yan was stunned for a moment, then he slightly nodded his head, signaling for someone to come in. After the girl in green cloth came in, she slightly bowed her body. Then she took out a bamboo slip and said, I am following the orders of the Lord of Jade Pavilion to convey the words of the Lord of Jade Pavilion. She said that she would make arrangements for the martial arts competition. After the auction ended, Lord, please head to the place where the Profound Yin Sect is located. There will be people there to welcome you. This was the token. As for the auction item, the Lord of Jade Pavilion said that he didn't need to worry about it. She'll pay for it. After saying that, the person handed the bamboo slip to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan didn't say anything when he heard that. He also didn't show any expression on his face. After taking the bamboo slip, he nodded at the woman in the cloth shirt. The latter also left the private room and blended into the maidservants outside. Then, she quickly disappeared. Xiao Yan looked at the bamboo slip in his hand and the corner of his mouth curled up. This woman was really meticulous. He opened the bamboo slip. There was a detailed map of Profound Yin Castle drawn on it, especially the part of the Profound Yin Sect. The map was clearly drawn. Even the secret door was marked. It was obvious that Jade Fairy had done her best. Looking at the detailed map, Xiao Yan's eyes couldn't help but light up. He immediately focused all his attention on the map, memorizing the streets and buildings of the Profound Yin Castle in his heart. From Jade Fairy's tone, it seemed like the White Sun Spirit Lotus wouldn't be taken out by Yin Jushuan easily. This thing might be extremely important to Jade Fairy. Otherwise, Jade Fairy wouldn't have made a deal with him and made him make such a request to Yin Jushuan. It seemed like there was a lot of shady business between the two of them. Xiao Yan muttered in his heart. At that time, Yin Jushuan would do it out of consideration for his face. However, what would happen after that? However, he didn't know. At that time, the detailed situation of the Profound Yin Castle described on the map would be his life-saving straw. Although Jade Fairy had said that she would help him, she had to rely on a woman whom he could not see through. Xiao Yan was still worried. Dong. When Xiao Yan was carefully looking at the bamboo slip in his hand, the sound of a bell ringing suddenly resounded throughout the entire hall. Along with the ringing of the bell, the noisy sound instantly stopped. Everyone's eyes were looking at the luxurious hall on the high platform. There was a middle-aged man standing there. The middle-aged man had a stalwart figure, thick black hair, and eyes like stars. He wore a black robe embroidered with a purple flood dragon, and just by standing there, he gave off an aura that made people unable to look straight at him. Beside him, there were also a few black-robed figures standing beside the middle-aged man like stars surrounding the moon. They looked at the people below indifferently. When everyone's gaze landed on him, the middle-aged man laughed heartily. His loud voice resounded throughout the hall. Then, he cupped his fists. He said in a clear voice, "Thank you all for coming. Yin Jushuan will thank you all first." Although he said thank you, Yin Jushuan just cupped his fists and nodded towards the people in the hundreds of private rooms on the high platform. He only glanced at the people below indifferently. Sect Master Yin is too polite. We still need to thank Sect Master Yin for inviting us. Everyone in the private room cupped their fists and returned the greeting. Their polite words made Yin Jushuan laugh heartily. Alright, I won't say anything else. After the auction ends today, I would like to invite all of you to move to the Profound Yin sect. There will be a visual feast prepared by the Profound Yin sect there. After laughing out loud, Yin Jushuan flicked his finger. On the platform in the middle of the hall, an old man with slightly white hair nodded his head. After that, he cleared his throat and attracted everyone's attention. Everyone has waited for a long time. Now, the auction will begin. If you are interested in anything, feel free to help. This old man promises that everything this time will brighten everyone's eyes. Hearing the old man's words, everyone was startled. Then, their eyes revealed a strong joy. It seemed like the auction this time really had a high value of gold. Xiao Yan chuckled upon hearing this. This old man wasn't lying either. Although it was a little exaggerated, judging from the light green bead, there were many good items in this auction. The first auction item is the blood essence of the middle-rank heavenly beast Crimson Fire Flame Wolf. As the old man finished speaking, a round platform slowly rose from the platform. On the round platform, a fiery red stone pillar was quietly standing in the middle of a crystal glass. On top of it, a drop of blood-red liquid seemed to have a spirit of its own as it slowly flowed. Hey! Seeing the first auction item that appeared, Xiao Yan had a strange expression on his face. Then, he smiled faintly and looked towards a private room in the distance. That was where Zhao Qingshan was. In the private room, Zhao Qingshan was sitting on a chair. When he saw the stone pillar, he let out a surprised sound. Then, as if he had thought of something, his facial expression changed slightly. Two rays of light shot out from his eyes. He looked at the place where Xiao Yan was in shock. His originally calm face was now trembling slightly. It was him, he couldn't be wrong. After the appearance of the Crimson Fire Flame Wolf's blood essence stone pillar, Zhao Qingshan quickly recalled the experiences he had in Forest Domain a few years ago. After that, he suddenly thought of that bald kid. At this moment, the face of that bald kid and the appearance of the young man from yesterday had completely overlapped in his mind. No wonder he looked so familiar. It turned out to be him. Zhao Qingshan's face was filled with disbelief. How could that impoverished kid have reached such a level? Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.